What's up, guys? My name is Witty, and today we are going to be creating a tier list for the best mining pals in Palworld. And we are going to be considering everything when making these decisions. This includes whether they work well in your party, they work well in your base, they have extra work traits that they are able to partake in that make them a little bit better. Everything is going to be up for consideration as far as this tier list is concerned. Now, this is all going to be made after the patch version 0.1.5.1, which came out a couple days before this video. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, as you can see, this tier list unfortunately has all pals, including some that aren't even released yet. So there are going to be some leftovers. We are only going to be ranking the pals that have the mining trait, obviously, and we might as well start from the top with one that's not going to surprise anybody, especially if you've been playing or used this guy since the update. It's really not even close. The biggest and easiest S tier pal is obviously Digtoise. Prior to this patch, Digtoise was still the best pal both in your party and in your base if you had him fully upgraded. But now, even the non-upgraded versions of Digtoise are better than upgraded versions of other pals that we're about to talk about. Now, the next option was kind of tough for me. This is probably the hardest decision because there are a lot of things to consider when talking about Astegon. And that is because when mining manually with him, you are able to use attacks such as Lightning Streak to take out a lot of ores at the same time. It does not keep up with Digtoise. It is kind of close though, and because of that, I really struggled with whether or not I wanted to put him in S or A tier. But with all things considered, Astegon is over twice as efficient at the Stone Pit compared to Digtoise, but on ores, obviously Digtoise takes the cake. But for that reason, we are going to actually put Astegon in the S tier with Digtoise. Now, I can't make it clear enough that there's like a gap between these guys. There should be two Digtoise up here. But Astegon does rightfully belong in S tier as the best pal for the Stone Pit, and obviously the Lightning Streak thing, you just can't ignore it. And that is actually going to be the last of the S tier. Next, we're going to move on to the A tier, and we're going to start this off with Anubis. I personally find Anubis to be the next best thing after Astegon. He is pretty on par with Digtoise as far as the Stone Pit goes, but the biggest caveat for Anubis is that he also has the transporting skill, and so when he's done mining at your mining base, if you're running, let's say, 6 to 8 Anubis, as soon as they finish, they're going to start transporting their own ores and coals and whatever else to your chests. You're not going to need as many transporting pals to take up extra spaces in these bases, and because of that, Anubis has to be valued just a little bit higher than the guy who's going to be appearing on this list next, which is, of course, Blazemut. Now, Blazemut is a tier 4 miner in his own right, whereas Anubis is only a tier 3, but because Blazemut doesn't have transporting, he isn't quite as useful in mining bases, unless you're willing to sacrifice those extra spots, and even then, you'd be surprised how close they are in efficiency when they are fully maxed out. The next pals that we're going to talk about, we might as well go ahead and knock 2 out at once. We're going to throw Reptiro and Reptiro Christ into the exact same category, into the B category, because these guys are tier 3 miners in their own right, but that's really it. There's not much to say about them. They are very average, good tier 3 miners. And for that exact same reason, we can throw Menacing into the exact same category, right behind or right in front of the Reptiros. It really doesn't matter. They're effectively going to perform the exact same way. Editing Witty here, just cutting in to say that I completely somehow managed to forget about Reptiro and Reptiro Christ's partner abilities, which essentially just improves the efficiency of mining ores while mounted. But thankfully, I would probably still keep them in the same place in the tier list, all things considered, because it's a pain in the ass to take advantage of their partner skill, to be honest. We're actually going to throw Mammorest as well as Mammorest Christ in front of the Reptiros, because if you don't know, their partner skills allow them to obviously be mounted. Also improves the efficiency of cutting trees and mining ores while you are mounting them. And if you're able to level this up to tier 5 by condensing them, this will only get better. And it kind of functions in a way similar to Astagon, where you can use their attacks to mine. It's not as good as Blazamut, Anubis, or Astagon, but it is very good in its own right. Next up on this list, and rounding out the B tier, is going to be Tombat. He is only level 2 mining, but don't let that distract you from the fact that he also has level 2 transporting, and he can work throughout the night because he is a dark type. So this guy is going to be working no matter what time it is, and he is not going to stop. Jumping down into C tier and eventually D tier, you can kind of put the rest of the mining pals in almost any order. There are no particular traits or partner skills that make them better or worse than each other, but I guess that's kind of where personal preference becomes a thing. I'm going to go ahead and throw Demud into the top of the C tier for no reason other than the fact that I think he deserves it because look at him. Just behind Demud, we are actually going to throw our favorite penguin, Mr. Penking. He is a very good miner in his own right and does come with transporting as well, which in hindsight should make him a little bit better than Demud, so we'll go ahead and move him up. I'm sorry, Demud. I can't help you there. There's no winning argument, which leads me to realize that we're only going to be disappointing Demud a little bit more because the next pal up is Quivern. And Quivern has level 2 mining, just like Demud, but he comes with level 3 transporting, which means not only is Quivern going to be in front of Demud, but we're going to put him in front of Penking as well. It's simply because the higher transporting skill allows Quivern to carry more resources. Just below Demud, however, this is a win, in my opinion. We are going to throw not one, but 2 legendaries, and in no particular order. Necromus and Palladius are both going to fit here, as they are essentially just level 2 miners. That's really it. They can mine ore, they can't quite mine coal, and they just do it. There's nothing special about them. They're just level 2 miners. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here because I'm realizing that I forgot something else earlier on. There is another pal that should be at the top of B tier, if not the bottom of A tier, and that's going to be Rushore. Don't get it twisted. This pal is only a miner and only has level 1 mining, but if used properly, he belongs here. He can take out ores in one attack if you know what you're doing, and I completely overlooked him because of his mining level. It slipped my mind and I forgot. So I owe you one there, Rushore. I owe you one. Getting back to where we were though, the next pal that is going to be on the list is going to begin our D tier. And honestly, it doesn't matter what order you put these guys in. It really doesn't. Next up on the list is going to be Fuddler, believe it or not. And the only reason we're going to put them at the top of the D tier is because of their partner skill that allows you to track ores that are nearby. Next up, for all you fanboys and fangirls, we're going to go ahead and throw Lovander into the mix. Simply put, level 1 mining, level 2 transporting, and a meme. At this point, we can kind of just start filling in the rest of the tier 1 miners. There are only a couple left, so we will go ahead and throw Incineram and Incineram Noct into this list. And while we're at it, we can throw Maraith in there as well. These are essentially in no particular order because when you're down in this area, it doesn't really matter which pal you're using. They're really only able to mine the stone pits anyways, and so it's never going to be efficient and it's never going to be pretty. We can say that the Incinerams are above Maraith because they have transporting, but that's almost just a cop-out at this point. I almost wish that I could put this pal higher up, just for the nostalgia of starting the game and this being the first real pal that you get to experience mining with, but unfortunately, Kativa is going to fall right behind Maraith here. You know what? Actually, we're going to put Kativa ahead. Kativa does have transporting, so, I mean, it's only level 1, but you know what? No, we're not going to respect Maraith there. We're going to put Kativa ahead. Finally, last but, well, kind of also least is Depresso, the last mining pal on the list. And to be honest, we're going to make him a little happier because Maraith is just worse. Depresso has transporting at least. That's my argument. I'm trying to make the guy happy. Look at him. And this is going to essentially round out the list. It's pretty much everything I expected it to be. I am not really surprised by any of these. Let me know what you guys think, and if I made a mistake, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I can't wait to read the comments and hear about all of them. If you want to see more of these tier list videos, I definitely wouldn't mind making them. I will probably end up making my own tier list, that way I don't have all the extra pictures on the bottom. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you don't mind helping me out. We're on our way to 1,000 subs now. We're not too far away. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.